when you open up the hood of this thing, besides noticing how dirty it is in there, boy do I need to hose off all the dirt and dust for the last several months of rowdiness. You notice that's your only light. And that light sucks when it's dark 30 in the morning and your serpentine belt has been thrown by a faulty idler pulley and a destroyed tensioner pulley. So I'm about to pull a trick that I learned from Gearhead for Life. If you haven't seen his channel, really worth checking out. He's got some good stuff. He's a wizard with LS engines. But I'm about to pull a trick he did, which basically, when your hood's all the way in the air like that, all you do is put some LED strips up there and it gives you shop light underneath your hood when it's dark 30 and you're broke down the side of the road. So what I've found is a set of these off of Amazon, simple LED strips. We'll find out if they're actually correctly polarized. You can get them out. Oh goodness. They actually do mark them. Somewhere in here. Tiny little leads, but they're marked red and black, so that should be the polarity issue for me. The other baseline of this trick is taking and smashing a bulb and leaving the filament leads. Focus. But you leave the two filament leads. The one that attaches the outside casing, in my theory, should be ground. The one, can you even see down in there? Not really so well on this camera. But down in there you'll see where the filament attaches to basically this insulated silver portion. So all you got to do is solder all that kind of stuff together and then fill it with hot glue. I'll need to pull that gun out. And in theory it works, or at least it did for Gearhead for Life, and we'll see if I can't duplicate the same thing. Alright, I'm going to get to work and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. So as I'm playing around with this, come to realize that that little silver nub on the bottom of those sockets is actually solder. So you can see I kind of burnt a hole in the middle of it and reevaluated my plan to basically stick that through the bottom but solder it to the bottom. I'm going to maybe make a little knot at the bottom, I'm not sure. But that does make it a little more difficult to get in there. Okay, not hot. But you notice there's all that glass encasing that should keep the ground and everything else separate. But there's also some other material down at the bottom, some sort of insulator, that is also screwing with things. I noticed when I was trying to heat it from the bottom, yeah, see that? Heat it from the bottom, the solder's just coming out the bottom. I was trying to fill the cavity with solder and then jam the wire in. But we'll go a different direction. Just bring that wire out through the bottom there, do something of a knot and solder it to that point right there, and that'll get power right to it. And then fill up the inner cavity with hot glue, and then solder. I'm going to get some of that glass out of there, but solder the grounding point to that, because you can see that. That's where from the factory the ground part of the filament was soldered in. So the exterior casing is the ground. According to my theory anyway, but we'll find out in just a second. Lots of shadows from my headlamp, sorry about that. Alright, that seems to have worked. Now I kind of replaced the nub. I've got the wire securely soldered in there. Notice I am using some cheapo speaker wire because I shouldn't really need much else for this. I'm only going, what is it, 4 or 5 feet worth of run, if even that, from where the bulb is at, and then line it up under behind the headliner or the hood liner and get them up there. But yeah, that the speaker wire ought to do it. Real easy to tell which one's positive, which one's negative, because the negative on this cheapo speaker wire is actually aluminum, where the positive is copper. That'd be why I didn't use it for speakers. Now I just got to get that inner black looking area filled with hot glue. So this ought to be fun. How to secure it on in there. It looks like I did pretty well with where I cut the insulation sleeve off. It'll fit in there pretty nicely. Alright, I'm going to do that, and then I'll and get you back to you. It may not be the prettiest job ever, but I'm a bit worried that I keep pouring so much heat into it, I'm remelting the hot glue. And I do believe I have the negative lead securely soldered onto the exterior base, and now I can hot glue the whole mess and hope it sticks. If I'm half as good as Gearhead for life, it will. But I don't know. We'll find out. It was all definitely an experiment on my part on how to make this work. You know, one thing I ought to note while I'm letting that cool down and dry, if your truck doesn't have this, now you know what to go look for in the junkyard. You want this whole assembly basically from down here where it clips off. There's ground wire and all that goes up into here. But the mercury switch itself is actually down inside there, and the mercury switch is what makes contact with the positive of the bulb. So that whole assembly right there would allow you to pull this trick no matter what vehicle you've got. You just simply have to do what the factory did and give it a constant hot, which if you're anything like this truck, that's not hard to do with the battery right here. And you just hook this up close to your battery and run a constant hot to that. Maybe with a fuse, I would suggest, or a fusible link. But yeah, just because you don't have a 88 to 98 Chevy doesn't mean you can't have this same setup if it all works when I'm done. We'll find out in a minute, huh? But yeah, 88 to 98 Chevy full-size pickups, go look for this whole assembly right here. And that'll give you the ability. Alright, it may not be pretty, but I believe it will work. So everything's all glued in there in a mess of hot glue. The solders seem to be pretty strong. Now we'll see about running wire and then hooking up these little bars. But yeah, my plan is basically just to from there, just run it in probably behind these clipping points, string the wire that way until I'm up there where the actual, these things with these holes here, I've only got a couple of points where to stick these LED lights, and I do like the angle, because the angle will have it shining down into the bay instead of in my eyes when I open the hood. I kind of like that, but let's see how this all works. I'll get them stuck up there and then show you. I noticed for this install, I did disconnect everything there, so it runs at factory. It goes to my little bulb creation, runs behind that little insulation pad retainer, on up behind that insulation pad retainer, and then on up here where I've got it hanging out. And then I'll stick the LED lights on them and figure out how to get them wired from there on out. I'll come back to you when I'm done with that. Here's my serious complaint about these LED light bars. Holy crap, could you use a thinner gauge wire? I mean, I know LEDs don't draw a whole lot of stuff, but man, that is just way too difficult to work with. I mean, it's below 22 gauge as far as trying to strip the stuff. I mean, below 22 gauge. I mean, how small is that crap? Let's see if I can get hooked up and make this project actually work. You might be a redneck if you use a stepladder to work on your truck. Alright. About 95% there. Can you see that glow? It works. I have to get a nighttime shot to show exactly. I don't know if this shows up, but there's some pretty decent light under the hood now. Not just that stupid little incandescent bulb that the factory put there, but yeah, we have the technology. So as with everything electrical I do, whether it's in the truck or out of the truck, I'm using the crimp and heat shrink connectors. I like to keep everything totally dry and totally corrosion proof. Don't let any moisture into that, especially since this is under the hood. It definitely needs that. I'll just tuck this wire all up into that space. Up in there. Don't think it'll be an issue. Yeah, I don't know. I think it is. I might find another way to clip it down somehow. But yeah, they're working. Peel off that plastic stuff. There we go. So there it is, like 2 little shop lamps underneath the hood. These are fairly bright, as most LEDs are. I just hope these ones will hold, and I hope that sticky back stuff works. If not, you may see me drilling in and zip tying them in place, but if I had to do it all over again, I think I'd spend some time looking for a set of LEDs that actually have holes in them, so I could actually rivet them or drill with some sheet metal screws or something and actually permanently attach them there. But yeah, there it is. This little mod works. Well, now we gotta wait several hours for it to go dark here, and then I can pop the hood at night and see exactly how much of a difference this makes, having 2 LED shop lamps under the hood. Alright, do a little bit of shot of the mercury switch actually functioning. So it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on. So it works. This little modification project is a success. Kind of interesting, in that shot you can actually see how bright those things are under there. Boom. But yeah, one more shot to take of these things functioning at night, see exactly how bright they are at night, and then we'll wrap this video up and post it. So here we go at nighttime, and I am liking it a lot. That's throwing a ton of light in here. I can totally do roadside maintenance now. I'm loving this. These 2 simple strips up there throw all kinds of light. Now you can see what you're doing in the engine bay when you need to. Yeah, this is a little trick I like. Makes it as bright as a shop in here. Kind of figured while at it, I might as well shoot what those F16 aux bulb LED lights look like, aux beam. There's what they are at night on low beam. Totally illuminates that stop sign down there. Let's kick it to high beam. It totally illuminates that hill on the opposite side down at the end of the road. Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot. I've driven them at night quite a bit now, and they're beautiful compared to old yellow halogens. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.